What's up, everybody? Welcome back to IGN's E3 2014 live show. I am one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside Nathan from Cappy. Hello.
Shaky shake.
Hello.
That's a good shake. That was a firm shake.
It's
How you
what I
doing,
do.
man?
I'm excellent. No one asks. Thank you. I'm good.
I'm here to please.
You're a good man. You are also making a game called Below.
We are.
If people don't know about this, you didn't watch enough PAX East coverage. PAX coverage in general. Everybody loves this game.
Get on
Mitch
that.
loved it. Damon loved it. Marty loved it. Everybody who played it was like, ah!
Let's keep talking about how much everyone loved it.
They loved it a lot, and like it's one of those games where you look at it, a lot of words from people who play it starts getting thrown around. They talk about Dark Souls, they talk about Zelda, they talk about all these amazing video games. How do you describe Below?
Well, Below, at its core, is a game inspired by roguelikes, but truly about exploring this world.
Yeah.
We just drop you right into it. You're not going to get any texts or any pointers or any tutorials or any go this ways. You're there to explore. You play a lone wanderer, tiny wanderer, and you'll definitely notice that when you're watching the footage.
Yeah, we
Camera
see it right
very
now.
zoomed
He's
back.
very, very tiny.
Yeah. And you're weak. You're kind of always one mistake away from death.
Yeah.
But you're also very nimble. You have a sword and a shield. And if you get good at using those, you can survive. And if you don't, you're going to die a heck of a lot.
And so if you die a heck of a lot, what happens?
You start again, except you're actually starting after the life that you just had.
Yeah.
So it's not the same life being played over and over again. It's actually a chronological thing. So the world itself is kind of persistent in the sense that if you, say you unlock a door, you pick up a key and you grab a bow and arrow, when you die, that door is still unlocked. The key is with your corpse, and the bow and arrow is with your corpse. So if you can find that corpse, you can actually find those items. And so you're always building upon the past lives. And Below is really about kind of a push to build upon the discovery of each life.
Now here's something that's interesting I feel when I watch the trailers or talk to people who love the game, right? You're talking about if you find your corpse.
Yes.
Is the game so open that you might be going and be like, well, I'll go this way instead?
Absolutely. At any given time, there's chance of being one door, two doors, three doors. They could go in different directions. They could go down. You're always going to be branching in some way. And if you're good at exploring, if you pay attention, which you kind of have to in order to survive, then you might discover special areas. And those areas are always in the same spots. They're not moving around on you, but the rest of the world, the kind of dungeons, which are a single screen, they're actually procedurally generated.
Oh, really?
They're random every time you come.
Different
so
for every person.
If you make it 10 layers down and die, your body will still be 10 layers down, but it might have shifted and moved your corpse into a different area. Maybe time passes and the corpse goes away.
Nobody should be touching my corpse.
Yeah.
We all know this.
That's kind of sacrilegious, I think.
It is, right?
Yeah.
And you're building it.
The game is, the way we look at it is kind of like, it's like you're looking into a living, breathing kind of terrarium, except the terrarium is super dangerous, super mysterious, full of secrets.
Except this terrarium will kill you at every corner.
And even if you take a single hit in the game from the smallest enemy, you start bleeding. And if you don't deal with that, you will die. So a single prick will cause you to bleed out eventually, and lots of them will cause you to die quick.
So what do you need to do? Do you need to be crafting Band-Aids?
Yep, you can definitely craft in the game. You can use a potion that might heal you. You can start looking around for the flora and the fauna and experimenting. And maybe you want to add together some water and some plants, and maybe you create a potion. The other thing that you can do is go up to a fire pit, light the fire pit, and you can actually stick your sword into it, wait till it heats up, and Rambo yourself.
Wow, cauterize the wound.
You can. The thing is that if you pull up your menu or if you go to the fire pit, the game doesn't pause. You can still take damage, so you really need to be thoughtful and purposeful and strategic about how you deal with that. And I mean, the fact of the matter is, the combat in the game is definitely brutal, but it's also very fair. If you learn how to use the kind of myriad of attacks that your nimble character has, your lunges and your dodges and putting up your shield and poking around your shield, you're going to live a lot longer than if you just run in hacking and slashing and throwing swords around.
You guys are sadistic monsters.
We like it's strange between Super Time Force and Below. They couldn't be the most opposite games.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we are definitely really interested in games that are kind of hard and that you kind of die a lot in, and that's kind of the point in a way.
I hate to be that guy, but is this a, quote, gamer's game? Like, that's what it sounds like, right? You're not trying to get some casual audience.
No, I mean, I think it's for us.
Yeah.
It's for people at the studio that love this type of game. It's for players that love a challenge and that love learning a game through playing it rather than being told at every step this is how you do this, and here's where you're supposed to go.
Hit 8, open your options menu right now.
Yeah, you will see none of that. And that's, I mean, it's, for us, it gives us a chance to almost explore the development of the game while we're making it. And, I mean, there is a story to the game, too. There is, you know, lore and things for you to learn about it. But, again, all of that is just for the player to learn for themselves.
Find it and go through it, right?
Yeah, for sure. And you'll probably learn by dying.
Yeah.
You'll learn what traps are by setting them off.
Sure,
You'll learn
trial and error, right? You'll learn what if you hear this noise, this is about to happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and that's also how you explore the game. You need to kind of follow those little breadcrumbs through that might lead you to the special areas, to new weapons, to some of the backstory in the game. And that, like, the kind of combination of exploration and survival leading through discovery is kind of the big goal of the game.
Do you feel like we're in an era right now that's kind of like a renaissance for roguelikes or for really difficult games?
Yeah, I mean, I think when we started working on the project quite a while ago, just prototyping it around, we weren't really sure. I mean, Chris, our creative director who came up with the concept, kind of had to like teach us what games inspired by roguelikes were, and then Spelunky, and then Dark Souls, Demon Souls, and even FTL. Like, those games kind of, while we were making this game, proved that people were really keen on that. And so, even though we were already committed to making it, I think it gave us a lot of strength and belief that, like, okay, we're not crazy for loving this stuff.
Yeah.
There's other people out there like us, and that we can make the game exactly to our vision, and hopefully that'll be what people are down with.
How much of it do you worry about the hopefully? Do you worry that you're making it too tough, too crazy, too...
Absolutely not. And here's why.
I like everything you're saying.
Every time you second guess your player, they're gonna hate you for it. They're always smarter than you. They're always way better than you at the game.
Yeah.
I mean, we were really worried that Super Time Force was super hard.
Yeah.
Maybe too hard, and people were 100%ing it in the first day.
Yeah.
Way faster than anyone in our studio can. And I think that with Below, we really hope that we're making a game that people will want to come back to explore, to like find parts that they might have missed the first time and wonder what had happened if they had gone left versus right. And I actually think that in most cases, we will, within a matter of days of releasing it, find out that, like, actually we probably could have made it a bit harder. Because, I mean, really, they get good at games really quickly.
Oh, yeah. They take the day off, you order pizza, you're all set.
And we just watch people get way better than us at our game than we ever were.
So for a game like this, how do you set it up? Is there, to reach the end of the game, is there a set number of levels to go down? Or
It's very variable.
Yeah.
And to be totally honest at this point, we don't have the end game locked down. It's still in development enough that we know what's going to happen, but we haven't gotten all the way through. And we're still really experimenting as we go and learning from taking the game to PAX or showing the game at E3 and seeing what people playing it kind of do. But yeah, I mean, there definitely will be an end game, if not plural. And there definitely is a goal to the game outside of pure exploration.
Sure.
But
the story you were talking about.
Yeah, but the way that you learn about this is by following those breadcrumbs. I mean, a lot of people call it environmental storytelling. That's the buzzy buzz going on. But that's kind of what we're trying to do. But we also don't, like, you don't have to do that. You can become an expert at combat and really enjoy the game for that, or you can try your best to not fight anyone at all in any levels.
Has anyone at the studio played it? I guess since there's no end game, this is hard to do, but how far have they gotten without dying?
Oh gosh. Chris, who's playing the game right now, our creative director and the game director, the last time that I sat down to try to watch him play just for fun, I stopped after a few hours because he is able to not die. But a big portion of that has to do with how you deal with the situations and whether you get anxious and drop your shield too soon, or I mean, thoughtful, strategic play will always be rewarded in the game, and I think that's something that audiences, some people will get really brutalized by the game.
Sure,
and maybe they'll keep coming back, maybe they won't, but there is definitely going to be a group of people who are like us that love learning a game by playing it.
So now, we haven't actually talked much to the gameplay that's happening. What's happening? We're fighting creatures below right now, obviously.
Yeah, so Chris is actually fighting through one of the kind of procedurally generated levels. It's a single screen, so you know exactly where the boundaries of your exploration are. And he's fighting against one of the stronger enemies. And every time enemies die, they'll drop a little jewel, and you'll kind of wonder what that is. If you leave the jewels, You'll also notice that there might be some kind of reason to pick them up.
Yeah.
So that jewel that he just didn't pick up is all of a sudden kind of flashing red and moving around the level and reforming back into another enemy. So not only do you have to worry about the enemies that you're fighting, but you actually have to think about forcing them to not respawn as well.
Right.
And the way that, and Chris just got his head cut off by a trap.
Oh, Chris never dies. Chris plays for hours without dying.
Chris is giving you a realistic representation of the game right now.
You're all liars. So, okay, so now you restart as the new character.
Yeah. And for the sake of the demo, we're restarting you in the kind of lobby, but that's not necessarily exactly how it'll play out in game. You're a lone wanderer arriving at an island, and the start of the game is you actually being able to explore the entire outside of the island. So basically it's the kind of calm before the storm.
That's the thing in the trailer, right, you guys have shown, where you start with the boat in the water bobbing.
Yep. And
you
can actually
stack up? That was my one thing I was wondering. If I have 13 people in, are there going to be 13 boats there? A couple
You're
of
going to create like
ones?
a little boat island.
Exactly.
That's a good question. One to which I don't have an exact answer.
Just put it out there.
If there ends up being a stack of boats, we will give you your kickback.
Thank you. I do want to thank you in the credits.
Oh, I thought you would want some like cut off the back end.
Oh,
but
no.
that credits
this game's
is cool
not going to make any
That's
money.
Much better. Yeah.
Video games don't make money anymore.
No. That's why we're at E3, right?
Yeah. Look at all this.
To see how much we can spend without making any.
One day, the Kickstarters will catch up to us.
Chris right now is also playing with, you can carry around a torch. The torch eventually runs out, but you can bring the torch back by putting it into a fire pit. You also have a lantern. And Chris is going to learn about like what to avoid with the traps. That dart trap he knew was coming, so he was able to put up his shield at time. And the way that you learn about what is a dart trap, what is a spike trap, what are all these kind of like dangers, quite often is by triggering them the first time. But if you're smart and you're very cautious and you walk with your shield, there's a good chance that you're going to trigger them but not be killed by them. So you can actually, like, your shield is a really amazing tool. But you can also put a third weapon on your back. So the way that the weapons work in the game, basically imagine the opposite of Torchlight.
Okay.
There is very few weapons in the game. They all serve a very specific strategic purpose. And finding them will give you a chance to kind of pick how do you want to play the game. If you pick up a bow and arrow, it gives you a chance to maybe unlock the ability to use ranged weapons. But if you have a bow and arrow and you find a spear, you have to choose, do I want to play ranged or do I want to play with the spear? Because you're going to kind of Halo style drop what you have. Because you're always going to have your sword and your shield. The only slot is your back. And you do also have a limited amount of inventory spaces, which you can use to craft, but if your inventory is full, you're going to have to figure out, crap, do I want to bring a potion with me or do I want to bring an antidote for poison with me?
So, obviously it's based on which weapons you have, but are you leveling up skills? Are you doing stuff like this? Or
a big portion of that is not literal. It's not RPG-ish. It's you finding better weapons. It's you learning how to craft better. It's you having access to new tools that will help you either survive or explore the dungeon. That'll let you become better at combat or give you options in combat. But there isn't any like pure RPG leveling up at all. The skills, the way you level up your skills is by learning in the game. And that's the way that the game is entirely built around that kind of like, you're actually just exploring everything. We don't tell you how to use the UI even. You just learn how to use the menus by clicking.
Don't you I mean, like, I'm down. Don't get me wrong. Everything you said, yes, it's getting bought as soon as I can. But like, how many people are going to be pissed at you think when they turn it on? They're like, what?
Well, our hope is that there will be some kind of, whether it's through Twitter or whether it's through online, there will be a place.
You're trying to start one of these Minecraft movements where there's wikis and everybody's passing notes to each other on how to do it.
Dude, I think wikis are the best. I love the idea of player-created information. And all we can do is set up the game hoping that will happen. If it doesn't happen, we'll be there to support it, of course, and we'll be more than happy to like tell players, here's the way that you handle this. But hopefully there is enough secrets in the game, and hopefully there is enough things under the hood for players to tinker with, that they'll be the ones teaching each other. And again, it comes back to the like, we don't worry about it being too hard. We don't worry about the lack of information because it sounds kind of hokey, but I trust the players to figure that stuff out for themselves.
I mean, this is what we talk about all the time in video games, right? You have a vision for your game, and if you like it, if there's something you want done, there's other people who want it done. And the moment everything gets screwed up is when you're like, well, I'm going to tweak my vision for who these people I think are out
Let's
there.
focus test this.
Yeah.
No,
Let's note card it to death.
I think part of the reason is because we just all love playing games, but I think the other part of it is that when I like to play games or watch films or read books or listen to music, I can tell when the person making it is honestly making it.
Right.
When they believe in what they're making. And I know it sounds super cheeseball, and I'm totally okay with that, but that's the type of stuff that I hope that we make, is that when you play this game, you can tell that Chris had an idea, the team got behind it, and together we built that idea into something that we're really passionate about and really proud of.
And executed it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I love execution.
He likes executing a lot. People get executed in this game all the
Yeah,
time.
Chris lost his head.
Very clearly about it. The enemies we're seeing so far seem to be on scale with the Wanderer, the hero here.
Yes.
Are there going to be gigantic bosses and things you need to freak out about?
So here's where we kick in the official below answer to questions.
Okay, yeah.
What do you think?
I think for sure there will be giant spiders and cavernous cave creatures.
That would be pretty awesome.
I hope for a helpful troll.
Oh yeah.
Who will inform me on recipes.
Yeah. Maybe some giants on woolly mammoths. I just watched Thrones on the flight on the way here.
Oh
so
yeah. That would
badass.
work. That would work.
Yeah, we're really excited about the fact that there is so much that we can do and that we don't have to show it all. That like there are certain things that we really want players to, and we really want there to be true secrets in the game. And we hope that whether people are playing on PC or on console, they have a chance to find those secrets and then speak about them with their communities.
Yeah. So far, have you seen that reaction of people on Twitter and stuff that really are down for this game?
Oh, it was so we premiered the game playable for the first time at PAX East just a couple of months ago, and we set up a whole bunch of TVs, let people sit down, put a controller in their hand, made them put headphones on, because obviously Jim Guthrie, who did the soundtrack for Sword and Sorcery, is also doing the soundtrack for this game, so the music and audio design are a must. That's a huge portion of the game, and we all know that Jim is a genius. We call him the maestro, so you have to have headphones. But we watch people just kind of pick up controllers sitting like this and just slowly over time just start doing this and get closer. And for us, that was the quintessential moment for okay, it's drawing them in. They're invested in.
Right.
Not
Whenever
just
you walk into somebody's house and they're like this in front of the TV, you know that's a game.
And you know they're not answering any question that you ask them.
So what do you like? How would you use weapons? But no,
just
leave me alone, bro.
I'm
playing the game.
Sitting right here like this, and it's between the atmosphere that we're going for, the real focus, and something that we do at the studio all the time, just really trying to focus on creating a new aesthetic, something that looks unlike any other game.
Yeah.
Jim's music, obviously, but also just kind of trying to pick things that we really enjoy to make a game inspired by roguelikes that's not necessarily a hardcore, insano, fine-tuned roguelike. We're not trying to make that type of game, and our friends who are roguelike aficionados would get kind of pissy if we were to call it a roguelike. But it's inspired by that. But it's also inspired by some of the stuff that we learned from Super Brothers Sword and Sorcery EP, some of the vision from that, and some of the design choices that Chris brought to that game. And so it's just kind of us building this mishmash of things that I think really show what the studio loves, and also really show the type of vision that we can throw up on a PC or a console.
Yeah, it's I think stunning. And I did not get to play as long as Damon and Marty did because they hog it up all the time when they play games. But from what I did, it seems like the type of game that I could see myself taking a day off, playing nonstop, and then as soon as I beat it, start it again to try to find that alternate path, to try to find that secret, to try to come back.
That's really the hope. I mean, there are going to be so many things to discover and so many different paths for you to take. Every time you get into a new randomly generated dungeon, there's 3 doors. You're always going to kind of wonder what was down the other one, and that curiosity and that drive to discover is, it's a big part of the game, and hopefully why people will play it through once and think I could probably go a different way.
I can do it faster, I can do it better, something happens around there. Here's my question for you, and I don't know if you know this about me. I don't know how to make video games.
Gotcha.
But it seems like
it's super easy.
Oh, is it? Okay,
yeah.
Great. I should try it out then. The randomly generated level, right? It seems like it would be almost a nightmare to figure out. Is it or is it not?
It's definitely probably that and the making the scale of the game readable were the 2 biggest challenges for us in development. And we got really lucky, have an amazing programming team. Renaud Bedard, who was the lead programmer on Fez, joined the team a couple years ago, and the first thing that we did was say, here, do the hardest part of it, and he did a great job.
Just take care of this for us, no big deal.
Yeah, between his work and the work from the rest of the programming team, they were able to make, I think, levels that are randomly generated that don't look it, that don't feel it, and that are always going to be interesting and solvable. And yeah, I mean, it's super, super challenging because you want it to always be interesting.
Well,
you don't
right,
want to shove the player in a box.
Exactly. I would worry about you being generated in there and there's just 2 rocks and something blocking a door. Like, you know, I mean, all this game.
They use it's a lot of mathemagic.
Ugh, no, thank you.
Yeah, it seems like it's crazy. And I again, like, for those of us who are not technical, it seems like a black box of magic.
Right, yeah.
They open it up and stuff happens, but
I've never had any idea how any of the video games I play come to be.
It's pretty awesome seeing it happen.
Now right here, we have the heart above his head that looks like it's losing stuff. Did he just bleed out?
He might just get a chance to cauterize right before he bleeds out. Oh, that was a great save. Well done, sir.
Well done,
yeah, so Chris managed to get to a fire pit and Rambo or cauterize himself right before he stopped bleeding. While he was doing that, some of the gems that dropped off the enemies remixed and formed new enemies, but he managed to keep himself safe. He has really low health, so he has to definitely play safely, but he's using the shield correctly, and you have a whole bunch of different things that you can do. You can like shield bash to push enemies away, you can do running lunges and link leaps, we call them.
Link leaps, yes, I know that leap well. Hiya!
Yeah, exactly. Minus that sound effect.
Of course, we don't want anybody getting sued.
Yeah,
but if you need me to come in and lay down that sound effect again.
That was actually exceptionally well done.
Thank you. I can do that in Mario real well.
You have a whole
See? Those are the 2 Nintendo things I can do.
I now know how you got this job.
Nathan.
I was always questioning how you ended up working at IGN.
How did this fat idiot ever get... Now, you know. I just came in, I wowed
him
with Nintendo
really
impressions.
Impressed by that.
Nathan, when's Below come out?
It's coming to PC and Xbox One sometime this year or next year.
Oh, okay, great. Well, that narrows it down.
Yeah, like that's a super tight window that I'm sure everyone will really love me for saying.
Hey,
no, we don't want to. It's like making a game is like baking a loaf of bread, and you want it to like proof up and bake nicely and then crisp up on top. And so we're gonna give it some time to crisp up, but we'll hopefully get it to you as soon as possible. And I mean, we're really excited to be bringing it to both the PC audience and the console audience as well. I think it's going to take us a bit more time, maybe, but
it'll be worth it in the end.
Absolutely.
It will be delicious bread.
I think I'm really hoping that people enjoy this loaf.
Thank you so much.
That's the best end of an interview I've ever done.
Well, you're lucky. You nailed it. Bam. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think of that loaf of bread? Let us know in the comments on this video. Then make sure you stick around. We still have more here on the IGN live show from E3 2014. Up next, a little game called Hell Divers. Stick around.